All right. That's what we get for our intro song. We're going to wait just a couple of seconds as everyone's getting in. I'm watching the participant number climb. And we are just connecting to all of our social media outlets. Welcome and good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Megan.
Good evening. Welcome to Art Olympics, March Madness. I hope you all can feel the heat from where you are tuning in tonight, from home, on the couch, with the family, with your friends, roommates. We are joined tonight by two amazing institutions, and I cannot wait to introduce them in just a moment. But I want to welcome you all here tonight to another installment of our unique and zany virtual art game show, Art Olympics. Tonight is the first night of 4 nights where we're bringing you Art Olympics March Madness. So we are getting in the basketball spirit. So let me start by telling you all how this game works for those of you who are joining us for the first time. For those of you who this is your 4th time coming to Art Olympics, welcome back, and you've got this probably down pat. But I want to tell you a little bit about the game. So tonight we have 2 museums, as I mentioned, joining us. We're going to have 10 rounds totaling 20 works of art. Each museum has 1 minute to present their work of art. At the end of each round, we need you all who are viewing either on Zoom, on Facebook, you could be coming in from us live on Twitter, YouTube, to send in your vote. As we mentioned, March Madness is a competition. So we have 4 museums who are going to be competing this month for the bracket. For you true basketball fans, when I say bracket, you know exactly what I mean, right? But I'm going to explain it a little more in depth for those of you who are like me, and that might be a little over your head. So tonight we're going to have the Brooklyn Museum, going up against the Newark Museum of Art. And then on Thursday night, we have the Milwaukee Art Museum competing against the Columbus Museum of Art. So we have 4 museums total. The winners and the non-winners from both nights are going to go on to compete again on March 16th and March 23rd. Now, I know that's a lot. Your heads are probably trying to take all of that in. We are going to drop all that information in the chat later on tonight. We're going to put it in the comments. And as always, check out the New York Museum of Art's website and Facebook page because it's all on there as well. So enough about that. We've gotten all of those things out of the way. Let me introduce you now to tonight's contestants. From the Brooklyn Museum, we are joined by 3 of the people behind Ask Brooklyn Museum, which is a texting app that the Brooklyn Museum has that allows museum visitors to chat in real time about what they're seeing in the galleries. So I'm joined by Forrest Pelsu, Audience Engagement Team member, Elizabeth Treptow, Audience Engagement Team member as well, and Gina Vasquez, Audience Engagement Team member. So give us a wave, Forrest. Welcome, Forrest, Gina, Elizabeth. And for all of my viewers watching, because we have people coming in from all over the globe tonight, and we would love to know where you're coming in from. Let us know in the comments and in the chat below. We love to know where you're viewing this game from. But for those of you who aren't local to the NYC area, the Brooklyn Museum is an art museum located in Brooklyn, New York City. Brooklyn Museum is New York City's 3rd largest in-size museum that holds an encyclopedic art collection that totals roughly 1.5 million works. The Brooklyn Museum's mission is to create inspiring encounters with art that expands the way we see ourselves and the world and its possibilities. Welcome, Brooklyn Museum. I think your mission lines up entirely with what we're doing tonight with Art Olympics. And I see some San Francisco's. I see some people coming in from Texas, from New Jersey, of course, from Canada. Oh my gosh, I love it. Awesome, awesome. I love seeing all that. So now let me introduce the Newark Museum of Art. And tonight we are joined by 2 fantastic colleagues here. We have Trisha Bloom, the curator of American art. And then we have Muhammad Abdul, the curatorial assistant. I like that. I like that. So for those of you who might not know much about the New York Museum of Art, let me tell you just a little bit about it. It is the largest art museum in the state of New Jersey. It is located in downtown Newark. It is home to a fine arts collection. We have things ranging all the way from American art to decorative arts, contemporary, arts of Asia, Africa, the Americas, and the ancient world. In addition, the museum offers really cool experiences with a planetarium and a historic home on site. So welcome all of my contestants. I hope you're excited. I hope you're getting ready. You've got warming up. Yeah. Maybe doing some free throws or just playing a little, maybe a couple slam dunks there. All right, so I want to give you one more reminder for all of the contestants tonight. You each are going to have 1 minute to defend your work, the work that you chose to present for each category. If for some reason, and I know this never happens with people who talk about art or in art museums, but if you happen to go over time, this is the sound you're going to hear. Did everybody hear that? All right, that's the sound you're going to hear once your 1 minute is up. So as I mentioned, we have 10 categories to present tonight. So to all of you watching from home, whether you're on Zoom, whether you're on Facebook, any of our social media outlets, once the museum has presented, then that is the moment where you have to decide who the winner is. If you're joining us on Zoom, you're going to see a poll pop up in the middle of the screen. So it's going to be very visible for you. If you're coming in on another social media channel, just write it in the comments which one you want. And you can just describe it. You can write whatever I say about it. Maybe you saw the title of it. Just give us a descriptor of which one you're voting for. All right, at the end of the game, we're going to take all of those votes. We're going to see what the referee says. And we're going to see who's going to advance to the next round of Art Olympics March Madness. Along the way, if you all have questions or comments or funny things you want to say or remarks, please put them in the comments and in the chat below. We love hearing it. And a little tip to all of my friends joining us, if you click at the bottom of your chat where it says to, there's a drop-down menu. You can actually change it from all panelists to all panelists and attendees. And that's a great way to make it feel like we're all together, we're having a conversation, we're in the museum, we're looking at the art together. So I encourage you to change it to all panelists and attendees so we can have a fun conversation tonight. All right, contestants, I think I've set everyone up for success. We've got people tuning in from all over the globe, ready to see how this is gonna go down. Are you all ready?
Yes.
We're ready. Okay, let me
ready to go.
Ready to go. That's what I like to hear. I'm just going to pull up our works that we're going to be defending tonight. And I hope my contestants also have the chat pulled up. You all can get in there, answer questions, make comments, make some new friends, find some new art lovers or basketball lovers. So I encourage you to pull that up as well. Here we go. We're gonna start tonight with round one. And round one is all about the hoops. All about the hoops. And our first museum presenting is going to be Brooklyn Museum. And so from Brooklyn Museum, we have Gina presenting. And what you're going to notice tonight is I'm always going to start with a slide that sort of orients us so you see a little bit about the two works that we're going to be hearing about. And so these are the two works side by side. And Gina, let me put a timer on here. We've got 1 minute. Are you ready to go, Gina?
I am ready.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and start the clock now.
Hi, everyone. So basketball is one of many popular sports that originated in the Americas. The peoples of Mesoamerica played a game that involved a point system and throwing a ball through a hoop nearly 3,000 years ago. However, basketball isn't the only game involving a hoop. The game of hoop and pole, which is indigenous to the Great Plains of North America, unlike basketball, often involved a moving target. The goal of this game is to hurl an arrow or a stick into the center of a hoop, kind of like darts, but with an added level of chaos. In some versions of the game, the hoop is a moving target, requiring the player to coordinate their throw, focus, and movement in order to target the hoop.
Awesome. Look at that, coming in under time. Okay. Next up, we are going to hear from Trisha from Newark. Trisha, I have your work up on the screen. You just let me know when you're ready and I will start the clock.
Okay, I'm ready.
Go ahead.
Okay. What, you may ask, does this fabulous piece of studio jewelry have to do with basketball? On the surface, nothing, perhaps, but the net-like structure that falls in loose, swishy lines calls to mind the movement of basketball nets And even with these unfinished edges, the celebratory NCAA tradition of cutting the net. But what about the hoops? Given the prominence of the hoops and their lack of function in this piece, it really is all about the hoops. They just look fantastic, bouncy, catching the light in a blingy, stylish way. Arlene Fish is an accomplished metalworker and jewelry maker known for this technique of combining metalworking and knitting. Like many of Fish's creations, Copper Cascade is big and bold. It drapes across the shoulders with flair and makes us think of the crucial element of style that goes with basketball.
All right, you finished under time, but I figured we want to hear the noise. It's kind of a fun little ding.
It's fun to hear the noise.
All right, so first round, I put a reminder here on the screen for you all because we've got 2 works here that were presented. I want to make sure you remember what you saw. All about the hoops. I'm going to go ahead and launch our poll now. So which will you vote for? Will it be the Copper Cascade or the game hoop? Just go ahead and click on the one that you want to vote for. If you're on Facebook, write it in the comments below. We'd love to hear. And the chat is really lively. I love it. We had some fun comments about our hoops that we presented. Trisha, someone said that the Copper Cascade reminded them of something Dennis Rodman might wear. It does have sort of a scarf-like drape to it. All right, I'm going to give 1 more second for voting. We have a few more people putting in. Is it going to be the Copper Cascade or the game hoop? I'm going to share the results of each round with you all, but do keep in mind that our referees on the backside are also taking votes online. So that may not be the best representation of who actually won. We get a lot of votes from other outlets. So just keep that in mind. But it's interesting to see how everyone on the Zoom here voted. Okay. So for this round, I'm sharing now. But remember, more votes will be coming in. Okay, let's move on to our next round. This is round 2. It's called One and Done. One and Done. Here on the screen, you're going to see the 2 works you're going to hear about for One and Done. And up first is going to be the Newark Museum, and we're going to hear from Trisha. Trisha, I'm going to go ahead and put 1 minute on the clock.
Okay, I'm going to start then. These photos document a very special public event that took place at the Newark Museum in 2011 to celebrate the centenary of the museum's renowned Tibetan collection. Over the course of 5 days, 4 Tibetan monks visited the museum and created this intricate sand mandala using ground marble dust and a range of pigments. You can see they're working on the floor of the museum's Price Atrium at the intersection of our Asian American, Native American, and decorative arts collection. So once this labor-intensive piece was completed, the 14th Dalai Lama was present to bless the mandala, and the next day the monks swept the sand painting and carried it in a procession down to the Passaic River, which runs through the city of Newark. And although I get it that this is far from the basketball context of One and Done, this never to be recreated work is truly the quintessence of One and Done.
You made it in right under the clock. All right, next we're going to hear from Brooklyn Museum about what they're presenting for One and Done. And we're going to hear from Elizabeth. Elizabeth, let me know when you're ready, and I'll start the clock.
I'm ready to go.
Ready to go? Whoops, hold on 1 second here. Now I have to be ready, right? Okay, go ahead.
All right. He came, he saw. He elevated one deity above all others, and when his reign was done, he was systematically erased from written history. After being crowned king, Akhenaten shifted religious focus to the Aten, a formerly minor solar deity. Some see this as an early move towards monotheism. Others think it was a political move to diminish the power of the priests of Amun. You may have heard of his son and successor, Tutankhamun. Originally Tutankhaten, the young king's advisors changed everything back and went to great lengths to make it seem like his father's reign never happened. Note the missing face. This block and others like it were found at Hermopolis, just across the Nile from Amarna, the site of Akhenaten's brand new capital city. The city was promptly abandoned upon his death, and later the temple to Aten was dismantled and its blocks reused in a more conventional temple at Hermopolis. He thought the Aten was the one, and then his face and memory were done.
You made it in time. Okay. I'm going to put on the screen here the two works so that you can have a reminder of what you saw. This again is round 2, one and done. So which will you vote for? Will it be our historic hieroglyph or our meditative mandala? This is one and done. And one and done is a basketball term. That's a basketball term. Right, Muhammad? When we prepared for this event, there were a few things I had to be educated on. And people were very gracious with me, but there were some phrases I wasn't familiar with.
Yeah, I also had to look that up.
One and done. I know nothing but net. That one I know, because it's a great feeling when you do shoot a basketball and you just hit the net. It's just amazing. Okay, we've got some amazing comments in the chat talking about their favorites, whether it was the hieroglyph. They loved the rhyme at the end, Elizabeth. So might win you a couple votes there. I'm going to give one more second. Remember, if you're joining us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, please be sure to just write in the comments which one you're voting for. We'd love to hear your thoughts, and our referees will tally those up. I'm going to share where we stand at the moment, but remember, everything can change. Just like in a game of basketball, it can still be swept away. Our next round, traveling. Our next round is traveling. So I'm going to put on the screen here 2 works to prepare yourselves for what we're going to see here for traveling. Up first, we're going to hear from the Brooklyn Museum, and we're going to hear from Elizabeth again. Is that correct, Elizabeth? Excellent. Let me set up your timer, and you can begin when you're ready.
All right. I'm back, and I'm ready. Yeah?
All right, ready to go.
Okay. So traveling in basketball means carrying the ball while taking a step, an illegal move. But you'll want to take many steps while carrying a pilgrim flask. These small, often decorated vessels were designed to carry holy water or oil collected at a pilgrimage site. Some important traveling also informed the design of this pilgrim flask. Produced in Safavid, Iran in the 17th century, the green color is an effort to recreate a celadon glaze that originated in Korea, became popular in China, and was transported from there to Iran via the ultimate traveling route, the Silk Road. The lotus imagery may also be China-inspired, but the scrolling and intertwining plant designs pull directly from Islamic art. The pilgrim flask as a concept may have originated in the Near East, and examples have been found across Europe, North Africa, and Asia, dating back to ancient times. Are you prepared to travel with your holy liquids?
Here we go. Up next, we have the Newark Museum of Art, and we are going to learn about traveling and this work of art by Muhammad. Muhammad, whenever you're ready.
Ready? Here we have the star of our Global Africa Gallery. Although it looks like our travelers prepping for a Kareem Abdul-Jabbar-esque hookshot, it is actually a metaphor for the artist who was born in Nigeria and raised in London. Imagine walking a tightrope from Nigeria to London. Sheesh. The idea of cross-cultural exchange is further expressed through the garments donned by the headless woman you see here. While most people associate this type of clothing with Africa, it has historically been made in Europe. So if the hookshot doesn't win your vote, the clothing should. Hookshot.
Hookshot. Okay, you're coming in under, you had 20 seconds left, but I'm going to stop us there. We don't want to hear that beeping if we don't have to, right? So we've just heard from both museums. Our round is traveling, round 3. Is it gonna be Brooklyn's Flowery Flask, or will you choose Newark's Balancing Broad? And we learned a little bit about traveling, but it is a violation in basketball. You know, it occurs when a player who is holding the ball moves one or both of their feet illegally. And I just knew that. I didn't read that from Wikipedia. So I just knew that right in my mind. We had some Yinka fans in the comments here in the chat. Elizabeth said that the flask was very beautiful. And other really great comments. I encourage you all to get in there. Catherine loved your hook shot comment, Mohammed. So choose now. The poll is up on Zoom. If you're joining us online on Facebook or one of our other channels, just write in the comments. Did you like the flask? Did you like the Balancing Broad? Which one do you feel screamed traveling? Okay, we're gonna share the results here. We're only on round 3, everyone. We're only on round 3. Let's move on to round 4. We're inching towards halftime here. But round 4, we're gonna move on to a fun play on words, A Court and We Will Go. So this round might be a little bit about love on the court. It could be about love off the court. Let's hear what our contestants think about A Court and We Will Go. So on the screen here, we have both works that we're gonna hear about. But first we're gonna hear from Newark, and we're gonna hear from Mohammed again, right, Mohammed? So I've got your work up on the screen, and you start whenever you're ready.
Okay, I'm ready. While there isn't much known about this card, I think it's an interesting take on the idea of courting. Personally, it takes me back to high school sports when someone you like came to your game. Imagine dropping 50 and then sliding your future date one of these cards with "The ball is in your court" written on the inside. I mean, what else is there left to say?
All right, next up, A Court and We Will Go. We're gonna hear from Brooklyn Museum, and I think now we're gonna hear from Forrest. So Forrest, right. I'm gonna put a minute on the clock and you start when you're ready.
Okay, here we go. So the largest object in the Brooklyn Museum's collection is the building itself. Designed by the architecture firm of McKim, Mead and White, it was constructed beginning in 1895. The original blueprint actually included 4 of this kind of court that you see here on the screen. Only 1 was completed, but it is still an architectural highlight. The court is topped by a large glass and steel skylight, and because it's located on the 3rd floor, the floor of the court is also a kind of skylight, with glass blocks that are set into the concrete to allow natural light into the 2nd and 1st floor galleries below. We call it the Beaux-Arts Court now, and it's functioned as a sculpture garden, a concert hall, a venue for fashion shows and weddings and movie shoots. It was the most popular spot during our first Saturday events, which included dancing and music performances. And since the shutdown, it has been the site for a virtual exhibition, and it remains a favorite, albeit quieter spot for folks visiting the museum to take a break or take a photo.
All right, everyone, the choice is yours. Which will you choose, the Carnal Court or the Visceral Valentine? And Forrest, when I visited for the first time the Brooklyn Museum, you all were filming something in the court. And I just remember this was on a trip. You know, I lived in another state at the time. So I was very taken by, you know, you get like, oh, a little behind the scenes. They're filming something in the court. Very fun.
Yes, it always feels very big city to be.
Yes. Our museum, the Newark Museum, has some filming of like Law and Order SVU and other fun things. And we're always like, you know, peering through the little red tape. You're like, what are they doing? Which actors are over there?
Yeah, all the trailers set up outside, and
so
makes me feel like I'm going to be in a movie.
Exactly. So just a little plug there. Find your local art museum, film something in it. It's a great spot for. And don't forget to vote. Carnal Court, Visceral Valentine. Which will you prefer for A Court and We Will Go? Put it in the chats, share in the comments, or vote here on Zoom if you're joining us on Zoom. All right, so I'm going to share the results. It's still anyone's game at this point. It is still anyone's game. We're going to move on to round 5. And round 5 really speaks to me. And this round is, I'm just here for the concessions. So this is my level of sports. I'm just here for the concessions, but we're also here at round 5. It's halftime. So we thought it was a good time to stop and let everyone get some snacks, some nachos, a little cotton candy, nice cold beverage, if you must. So for this round, we're going to hear from Brooklyn first. Brooklyn Museum is going to present, and we're going to hear from Gina. So Gina, let me pull up your slide here, and you have 1 minute on the clock.
Great. Well, what better place to grab concessions on a sunny day? This 1.5-story Dutch-American farmhouse was built in 1775 in Canarsie, Brooklyn by Nicholas Schenck, the grandson of a miller who came to New Amsterdam from the Netherlands. The city of Brooklyn bought this land and farmhouse for Canarsie Park in the 1890s and turned the Schenck House into a park concession stand for kids and families to enjoy. It was used to sell drinks and snacks until being gifted to the Brooklyn Museum in 1929, where it is now reassembled. You can walk inside the house in our decorative arts galleries, where it's equipped with period furnishings, although we're afraid concessions are no longer allowed.
Next up, I'm sorry. I didn't click to the next one. I apologize. You had 15 seconds left. Do you want to share anything about this slide?
Sure. This is the interior of the Schenck House in the museum now with the added period furnishings. And you can see there are some fake concessions inside. So those are fun too.
Excellent. Apologies for that. And next, we're going to hear from Newark Museum. The Newark Museum of Art is going to share, and we're going to hear from Mohammed. So Mohammed, let me get your timer set up here, and whenever you're ready.
Okay, I'm ready. Okay. I'm not sure how comfortable I am with the decision, but the NBA has allowed up to 2,000 fans to attend their games. This means there will be plenty of burgers and beers to be consumed, which takes us to the White Manor depicted in this beautiful watercolor beside me. Introduced to the world back in 1939, the White Manor is credited for the invention of the slider and not White Castle. It is said the name of this historical New Jersey diner is inspired by the biblical food manna, which may be why their establishments are decorated in such a bright white and clean color. So we're literally talking about food for the gods here. This one has to win. Has to.
Oops, sorry. Well, let's see what they say, Mohammed. Let's see what the voices say. I'm going to launch our poll here. Which are you going to choose? Is it the House of Hunger? Is it the Burger Abode? Got two. It's going to be close. Either way, we all know that we're craving something to eat right now, a little late night snack. I hope everyone joining us has a nice cold beverage with them, a little something to nibble on. That's the best part of a sports event, a sporting event, is to go get the food, to get up at halftime and to frequent the concessions. Maybe not the best for your wallet, but the best for having a great time. If you're joining us on Facebook, write in the comments below. Let us know which you prefer for I'm just here for the concessions. Panelists, contestants here, favorite concession food?
Popcorn. I guess that's more movies than sports, but if there's popcorn, I'm going to eat it.
They have it at the sports too. They do. They definitely do.
I usually get French fries.
Loaded, like all the works on it, or just the fries?
No, just the fries, maybe some Old Bay.
I'm going to end our poll here. This is a really close one, everyone. Really close. I'm going to share the results, but honestly, by a hair. I mean, it is by a hair here. Someone says they really love the questionable hot dogs, the boiled peanuts. Oh, I'm here for all of that. Yes, the questionable hot dogs. Okay, let's move on. We are over halfway through our Art Olympics March Madness. We're moving into round 6. The Agony of Defeat. Let's see what our two museums are going to present for us on the Agony of Defeat. Who are we going to hear from first? I believe we have, let's see, Newark Museum going first. Yes, we do. All right. Mohammed?
I'm ready.
All right, I'm starting the clock.
Okay. If this painting was made today, I have no doubt it would be a metaphor for the historic 2016 Cleveland Finals victory led by the mystical LeBron James. However, Thompson often chose subjects that included monstrous creatures to symbolize larger struggles between man and nature, good and evil, the disenfranchised and the powerful. During the 1960s, Bob Thompson lived in New York City and immersed himself in the politics of the civil rights movement, which leads to this work, like many others during his career, using stories of the past to relate to issues of his time. I'm done.
All right, with time to spare, with time on the clock, Mohammed. Next, we're going to hear from Brooklyn Museum. We're going to hear from Forrest. Forrest, whenever you're ready, you have 1 minute.
All right. Here we see the defeat of Mahisha, a Hindu buffalo demon sat upon by the triumphant goddess Durga, his head in the mouth of her lion. Granted the power to be killed by no man, Mahisha thought himself invincible and went about wreaking havoc on earth, and the male gods could do nothing to stop him. But along came Durga, a powerful female deity armed by the gods with a lion to ride and a weapon for each of her 16 arms, and she engaged Mahisha in battle. Durga sliced at Mahisha with her swords, pierced him with arrows, but he evaded her by shapeshifting into a lion, a man, and an elephant. Finally, when he returned to buffalo form, she stomped on its neck, chopped off its head, dragged the demon spirit from its body, stabbing the demon before he could fight back. In fact, you can still see Mahisha's feet inside the decapitated buffalo's body, as well as Durga's trident piercing his side, an agonizing defeat for someone who thought he was invincible.
Okay, the choice is yours. Which will you choose? We have a defeated dragon or a beheaded buffalo. This is a tough one.
I kind of like the Durga myself.
Mohammed has made his vote. Aaron says that got intense quick. I agree. It's just like on the basketball court. 1 minute, things are slow. Next minute, boom. That happens on the basketball court, right? Put in the comments which you would vote for. Will it be the defeated dragon? Will it be the beheaded buffalo? We will tally up these votes. I'm going to leave our poll open here on Zoom for just 1 more second. Hurry. Get it in before the clock runs out. All right, I'm going to end our polling. This, again, was very close. Very, very close. Let's move on to round 7. This is also a test for me to know if I can remember what number we're on. But this is one of my favorite rounds, nothing but net. Such an amazing feeling, nothing but net. And I'm going to put here on the slide what we have in store for you. We've got both of these works that will be presented. We're going to hear first from Brooklyn Museum. We're going to hear from Forrest. So Forrest, I am starting the clock whenever you're ready.
Hello again. These glorious golden screens are decorated with a simple motif, fishnets hung out to dry on beachside posts. This theme comes from the Chinese tradition of 8 views of the Xiao and Xiang rivers, one of which is titled Fishing Village in Evening Glow. Here, the glow comes from copious amounts of gold leaf, a common feature of screens commissioned by military leaders during the Momoyama period, as the shiny surface helped to brighten up the inside of their castles. You can see from the reeds around the nets the changing of the season. So beginning in the bottom right, we have spring, and then moving toward the left, we see the reeds growing tall in summer, and then on the top, the reeds are in fall going to seed, and on the top left, we have winter. So all year round, the fishermen are at work, and their nets hang throughout every season.
You came right in, so I let it happen. Excellent. Next, we're going to hear from Mohammed again. We're going to learn a little bit about this object. Mohammed, I'm going to go ahead and put a minute on the timer for you. You can begin.
I am ready. One of my favorite lines from NBA Jam is the loud swish the announcer makes, which leads me to this 3,000 plus year old netting originally used to provide a shield of magical protection from harm for the deceased. Made of several types of beads strung together to form a stretchy net, it was placed over the front of the mummy wrappings and stitched to the linen or attached by ties around the back. The interior of the net is formed of thin tubular beads about 1.5 centimeters long. The 4 panels of blue beads separated by 3 panels of yellow beads. These beads are strung in a diamond pattern held together at the corners by tiny circular beads of red, white, or turquoise. Thank you.
All right. The choice is now yours, viewers, watching from the safety and comfort of your homes. We need to hear from you. We need to know, which do you think is nothing but net? The drying fish nets or the beaded net? We've got 2 nets. You've got to choose, though, which one is nothing but net. We've got 2 nets. In the comments here, we've got Team Forest. So Forest, I want you to know that your fans are in the stadium tonight. They are cheering hard. They have foam fingers. We've got a hashtag Team Forest.
I will say that also, Elizabeth mentioned this in the chat, but we were this close to also using an Egyptian net, so to put up against Newark, but we ended up going with the hanging fish nets.
2 Egyptian nets, can you imagine?
I know, it would have been impossible.
Could people even handle that? I don't think they could.
Then it really would have been nothing but net.
Nothing but net. I'm going to leave the poll up for just one more moment. In the comments, let us know, type down below, do you prefer the drying fish nets or the beaded net? It's all about nothing but net. Mohammed, can we get another swoosh? You gave a really good swoosh.
The sound or the form?
The sound. But I mean, both.
Well, I got it from NBA Jam. It's a swoosh.
I love it. I love it. Okay, let's see where we stand for round 7. I'm going to share the poll results here. Remember, our referees are working diligently. They're figuring out the rest of the votes. We have many more votes coming in that we're not seeing here. But let's move on to round 8. Round 8, it's going to be great. Rookie of the Year. Rookie of the Year. Is that a movie too, everyone? It's a movie, right?
No.
I'm going to put on the slide here the 2 works we're going to see and hear about in just a moment. Our 2 museums are going to have 1 minute each to present these. And first up, we're going to hear from Trisha from the Newark Museum of Art. Whenever you're ready, Trisha.
I'm ready. We chose this wonderful photograph of a young boy from Mali for Rookie of the Year because he looks so game, so ready to take on any kind of sport or adult responsibility the world wants to present. The way he stands at attention, the way he wears his clothes and returns the photographer's gaze and ours exudes power, self-possession, and intelligence, wise beyond his years. If we think about basketball, this image brings to mind Muggsy Bogues or Spud Webb, names that just roll off my tongue, neither of whom fit the role of rookie exactly, but both defied the idea that size matters in a sport that fetishizes height, and didn't let anything stop them from achieving their dreams of becoming stars of the NBA. There's also a little bit of reverse logic to choosing a work by Seydou Keita for this category. Shoot, okay, I'll leave you hanging.
The suspense, we want to know. Okay, I have got our timer ready to go. We're now going to hear from Elizabeth from Brooklyn Museum. Whenever you're ready, Elizabeth.
Ready and raring to go.
All right, let's have it.
Though this painting has been on loan to the museum since 2011, it officially joined our team in 2020. You may have heard Robert Selden Duncanson's name this year when his painting Landscape with Rainbow was loaned to the White House during Joe Biden's inauguration as a symbol of hope and harmony. Duncanson, the first known professional Black artist in the United States since Joshua Johnson nearly 50 years earlier, was known for his idyllic landscapes. This example is a copy after a work by pioneering American landscape painter Thomas Cole. It depicts Arcadia, a place name that during the Italian Renaissance became synonymous with a utopian concept of being at one with nature and leading a pastoral life. In 19th century American painting, it can symbolize hope for the new republic of the United States. Hope and harmony are some things we'd all like to look forward to after the year we've had.
I second that. I couldn't stop it in time, so I apologize. It's an automated thing, so like if I'm not fast enough, which of course I'm not. This is why I couldn't play basketball, you all. Here we have on the screen our two works that we just heard about, but now I need to hear from you all. Which do you think is the best depiction of Rookie of the Year? Will it be our boyish bicycler? That's not a word, but I'm making it one, or our luscious landscape? And as we have our folks voting in the poll here on Zoom or writing in the chat or commenting on Facebook, Twitter, I want to just give a shout out, Newark. We've got some fans. We've got some fans in the chat. We got a hashtag NMOA rules. And Leslie says, go NMOA. So we're feeling the love on both sides. I want to make sure I spread it out evenly. And for those of you who were curious, Rookie of the Year was a movie from the 1990s. My experts behind the scenes have done some research for me and have confirmed, so I'm grateful. I'm going to give one more moment here. One more moment to get in your vote. Will it be the boyish bicycler or the luscious landscape? We have some comments. Someone says they just always fall for a landscape, so it's hard to compete with somebody who just loves a landscape. But we also have a few people who are torn in the chat. You know, this is a really hard one. Let's see where we landed on these results. I'm going to share it here. We're in round 8. We are coming to the end of our Art Olympics March Madness. But remember, this is 1 of 4. So there are many more options to get in the game and to have some fun. So for this round, we have the balls in your court. The balls in your court. We have 2 amazing works on the screen here that we're going to hear about in just a moment. This is going to be a tough round, everyone. This is going to be a tough one. We're going to hear first from Gina from the Brooklyn Museum. So Gina, whenever you're ready.
I'm ready.
All right.
Okay, so Liberty is based on a photograph that appeared in Life magazine in 1986, which featured a Harlem Globetrotter in front of the Statue of Liberty, spinning a basketball on his finger. It was created by Hank Willis Thomas, a Brooklyn-based artist known for artworks that highlight the Black American experience. In this life-size sculpture, the ball and arm parallel Lady Liberty's torch and make the viewer consider the disproportionate way that sports are touted as a path out of systemic poverty and perhaps to liberty for Black Americans. To recreate the image in the photograph, Thomas cast the arm of former NBA All-Star and current coach, Juwan Howard. Howard's arm is also the source of Thomas's related public sculpture, Unity, located by the Brooklyn Bridge.
All right, let's see if I can stop the timer in time. Here we go. We have our next work, The Balls in Your Court. We're going to hear from Mohammed. Mohammed, whenever you're ready.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
It's all you.
Okay. Well, I wish I was able to present this Ruth Cheney lithograph after the net from a round or so prior. Then I could have went from swish to he's on fire. NBA Jam used to be my favorite game if you couldn't tell. But that heat leads me to this hazy cityscape you see beside me. What you may not have seen is one of the courts only has 3 players on it, which is a weird number for a team sport. Is it because this artwork predates the creation of the NBA, or are they just playing a game of horse? As a famous lollipop commercial once said, the world may never know.
All right. We have our 2 works. I'm going to show them here side by side. And I need to hear from you all which you think is the best, the balls in your court. We've seen a balancing ball. We've heard about a public playground. Which do you think best represents the balls in your court? We're going to give just a couple moments. Cast your vote, type it down below. Let us know your thoughts. Let us know your favorite. Do you vote based on what you see? Do you vote based on what you hear? We're all different. Some of us are visual, some of us are auditory. It'd be interesting to do a poll about that.
Really hope my lollipop reference doesn't go in vain.
I got it. I love a what is it? A Tootsie Pop.
Yeah. All right. Well, Alice says this is the toughest choice yet. Toughest choice yet. I'm going to give one more second. Let's see what the results are. Let's look at the results. Okay. We have lots of votes coming in on Facebook though, so don't let this fool you. But it is good to take a temperature, right? To take a read, see where we are. We are moving into our last round. Are you all ready for this? This round is called 4-point play. Who wants to explain 4-point play? Done a lot of talking, so I'm sure someone I know, but I don't think it would be best coming from
I'm
me.
going to explain it perfectly, Megan, when I get
I'm ready. Oh, perfect. And you know what? You are up first. So this is great. In just a moment, we're going to hear from Trisha. What is a 4-point play? So Trisha, I'm going to put 1 minute on the clock for you. You ready?
Yep.
All right, you can begin.
Okay. This painting by the American abstract artist Charmian van Weygand is full of 4-point plays, if you think a little abstractly. It's made up of rectangles, 4-sided forms, configured so that they seem to pulse inward or outward in a logarithmic spiral. These interlocking shapes have this dynamic feeling that looks almost like a page from a playbook. If you thought this was a Mondrian painting, you're close. Van Weygand was a student of Mondrian's, and she combined the Dutch master's love of geometry with her own interests in Eastern religion. The title, The Sign of Keeping Still, is a reference to the I Ching and is also a great metaphor for the elegance aspect of the game of basketball, which combines fluid movement, but also patience and poise, waiting for the right shot.
With 2 seconds to spare.
Yeah, explained it perfectly, right?
I figured it out. Everybody else good? We're good? 4-point play? All right. Next, we're going to hear from Brooklyn Museum. We're going to hear from Forrest. Forrest, you ready?
Yes, yeah. Okay, I got
right.
you. I got you covered on the 4-point play.
Here we go.
Basketball.
Here we go.
4-point play happens when a player makes a 3-point shot, gets fouled, and then has the opportunity to make an extra 4th point on a free throw. In this side chair, the 4th leg is pretty extra. The chair was made by the French designer Yves Martelot, who is known for his stuffed sculptural furniture that puts a playful postmodern spin on Victorian forms, making them even more ostentatious than the originals. So you've got 3 legs and one that is extra for a 4-point play.
Amazing.
Perfectly.
Amazing. Art and sports coming together.
You can explain basketball by chairs. Definitely.
Yes, that's art and sports were meant to go together. They're like peanut butter and jelly. We are on our slide here showing you both works that we've just heard about for 4-point play. let me put our poll up because it doesn't matter what I think, it matters what you all think. So which are you gonna choose for 4-point play? Is it the side chair or the sign of keeping still? We have two amazing works that were presented, but we want to hear from you all. We had a couple comments in the chat of various approaches. Some people said they're more visual, they go by what they see, but that what you all present can sway them a little bit. Like they need to hear the 1 minute argument to kind of be swayed. And then we had some props for Forrest because they said great explanations. So brava to you, Forrest. And Mohammed, lots of Tootsie Pop, or yeah, Tootsie Pops, not Tootsie Rolls. A lot of Tootsie Pop fans in the audience tonight. Someone said, I love a candy reference. So you got him with the candy. We just have a couple more seconds here. Put in your vote. Is it the side chair? Is it the sign of keeping still? Is it that extra leg? Is it the Mondrian-ness? Which is it that's gonna put you one way or the other? All right, let's see the results here. We're gonna share them on Zoom. We do have more votes coming in through Facebook. Lots of lively conversation, lots of votes being had there as well. Well, everyone, that was our last round. What? No, it wasn't. We have a bonus round. Oh my gosh, you guys. Bonus round. So our bonus round for tonight, for round 1 of Art Olympics March Madness, is called Fun and Games. Fun and Games, which is what tonight is all about, which is what basketball is all about, so, and which is what art is all about. So we're gonna hear first from Brooklyn Museum. We're gonna hear from Elizabeth. I'm gonna go ahead and put a minute on the clock whenever you're ready.
Let's do this. Who said the living get to have all the fun? Though it was frequently enjoyed by the living, the ancient Egyptians believed the game of senet, meaning passing, was a representation of the high-stakes journey to the afterlife to be played between a deceased individual and an unnamed opponent. This set was likely played by King Amenhotep III during his reign. To date, no written instructions for the game have been found, likely because it was so popular the rules were common knowledge in ancient times. We assume the 5 marked spaces at the end of the board represent just a few of the obstacles or tasks the soul might face on its journey. According to the Book of the Dead, there were monsters, mounds, a lake of fire, and a trial in which your heart was weighed against a feather. The consequence of not completing any of these elements successfully was ceasing to exist. It's all fun and games until a demon devours your soul.
All right. Very last work we're going to see here for our very last round. I promise there's not a bonus round. We're going to hear from Trisha. Trisha, you have 1 minute whenever you're ready.
Yeah, I'm ready. Here's a great shot that captures the street life of Newark, specifically the Ironbound neighborhood, and also the Converse sneaker craze that took place in the 1970s. Look how many of these boys are wearing Converse. When basketball players and their fans put sneakers on the map as a fashion statement, just to ground us again in the 1970s. Who are these boys? They look like the cast of The Outsiders or Stand By Me. We don't know exactly, but it's clear that they've just stopped or are about to keep playing something. They could be on their way to play ball, or maybe they're just spending time together. This kind of scene has a universal quality and is terribly missing right now. So here's wishing for warmer weather and vaccines and for loud, sweaty gatherings for children and grown-ups. This is one of 10 portraits of residents of the Ironbound neighborhood in Newark that was shot by Donald Lakuta in the late 1970s for an exhibition at the Newark Museum.
Excellent. Excellent bonus round. I can't believe you, Brooklyn and Newark, both pulled together these amazing works of art just off the cuff because I didn't even tell you about the bonus round. Amazing. Pulled them out of thin air. But we want to hear from you all watching at home for our bonus round, Fun and Games. Which will you vote for? Will it be our group of boys or our gaming board? Elizabeth, we had a comment in the chat that someone has played your gaming board before. I mean, not yours,
there are
but
sets out there. We make some guesses about how you play it. Sure, it's fun either way.
it looks like fun. It gives me it reminds me a little bit of Mancala. I don't know if you've ever played Mancala, like just a little bit Mancala-esque.
Can I ask, does Brooklyn sell a version of that in the gift shop? Because I really want to play it.
That's a good question.
Could
And
do, right?
I would recommend asking our gift shop.
We got some gift shop ideas here. I love it. Trisha, we had a comment in the chat. Beautiful comments. They really were moved by. I was moved a little bit too by your comments about the group of boys. And here's hoping for more gatherings like that in the months and years to come. Put your comments in the chat below. Will it be the group of boys or the gaming board for our bonus round? Okay, I have never seen this happen before, but it is half and a half on this one.
Wow.
53 people voted for gaming board, 53 for group of boys. Now remember, this does not include our votes on Facebook. So right now, we have some referees who have to work frantically behind the scenes to count up all the scores and see who actually won. So what I want to do is, for just a moment, I'm going to stop sharing my screen, is if you have any questions for our panelists, if you have any questions here for the contestants, drop them in the chat. We want to hear what you want to know about some of these works that we saw. There was one question about the chair. Is the chair regular size or a miniature? I believe we're referring to
Side chair.
Brooklyn side chair, yes.
I believe it is regular size.
Regular size chair.
Yeah. Yves Marteau made furniture to be functional. So it's not just a little artwork. It was, yeah, you could sit in it.
Amazing. And Mohammed, this is a question for you in the round Nothing But Net. You used the word faience, and I know I'm saying it wrong, probably. And I know we at the New York Museum had some conversations about faience. Could you just explain a little bit about the faience beads that were, I believe they were the beads that were used on the net?
Here we go. Yes, so faience are a type of glass blown bead that was, as you said, traditionally used back during the Egyptian period. A lot of them were used to like adorn these nets that were covering the mummies of the time. So just a glass blown bead to make it simple.
Excellent. I'm just scrolling through here, seeing we had one sort of fun question. If my contestants want to let us know what their favorite work was from the night, if they had a favorite.
No.
I'm a big.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I'm a big Bob Thompson fan. So when we saw that we were up against that one, we were like, no.
And I love a good St. George too. That one was really, really excellent.
Yeah, checked a lot of boxes.
Agreed.
I really like the Hank Willis Thomas. I've seen that artwork plenty of times and never knew it was Juwan Howard's arm. So that's a pretty nice tidbit of info there.
Yeah, it's super fun when you know you could keep doing this forever and not get to the bottom of all the collections.
Oh yeah, Trisha, I was gonna ask about that artist you mentioned. That was the cliffhanger. You were like, oh, this artist,
I had a whole thing, a disclaimer that Seydou Keita was like the father of African photography. So he's far from a rookie. Yeah, and lots of other little facts that I couldn't fit in.
nice.
Gina, did you have a favorite?
I must say that I also really love the Bob Thompson from the other side, and from ours, I was really into that chair.
I will say I was really proud of our use of building.
Yeah.
And I'm like, my love of Akhenaten goes way back, like to undergraduate, and I'm really glad you guys brought him in. That was great.
He's fascinating.
Love the Egyptian collection at the Brooklyn Museum.
It's a great one. We get lots of questions about our faience too.
Yeah.
Yes, and so I think you put in the chat, or someone put in the chat, that the game board that we saw last was also faience. So if that helps anyone clarify, like kind of the materiality of it, or the hardness, or the kind of texture, you could see it on that game board as well.
Yeah, it's fired like a ceramic. It can be glazed, super durable. So that's why the color is so bright.
Is it true? I know one of you guys has an Egyptian specialty. Is it true that like Egyptian faience is different from other like faience in other places? It's more of an enamel.
They're different, yes. I only really know about Egyptian faience, and that calling it faience in Egypt is actually a misnomer based on its similarity in appearance to Italian faience or faienza.
We have one last question here in the Q&A about the pictures on display. It looks like Tricia might be answering, but the last photo you showed of the group of boys, you had mentioned it was in a show. So we had a few comments in the chat about what show were you mentioning, and is it still on view?
No. So that show was in 1978. And we have 10 works from that series in our collection, but we don't have a plan to bring them out anytime immediately soon. But the Seydou Keita, like 99% sure that we're going to have on view in the Arts of Global Africa when we reopen in June. We are doing rotations, and I'm pretty sure that one is coming on view, which is exciting because it's a great photo.
We were taken by that one for sure. And it sounds like our viewers tonight were too. Well, I thank you all for answering some questions for us and for giving our referees just a few moments. You know how this is, having to tally up the back end. And so what we're going to now find out and discover together is who is moving on to the next round. So we have, of course, as I mentioned, we have 4 events happening for March Madness. We have 4 of them. This is just night 1. So get ready, mark your calendars. What we're about to discover together is who is advancing to compete on March 23rd in the gold circle. So this museum will be moving on to compete for the gold on March 23rd. And everyone, big drum roll. Let's see. What? Who's got the champagne or the Gatorade bucket to just dump on Muhammad and Trisha's head?
Well, we're really happy because we haven't won yet. This is the first time in a few rounds that we've won. So thanks for a great game to the Brooklyn Museum.
That was a close competition. Congratulations to Newark Museum of Art. They are going to go on to compete on Tuesday, March 23rd. We don't know who they're going to compete against. And you're probably going, why don't we know who they're going to compete against yet? Because we have to find out on Thursday night. So do not miss this Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. We're going to be doing our second round of March Madness, where we're going to have the Milwaukee Art Museum going up against the Columbus Museum of Art. Now, our friends at Brooklyn Museum, you all did an amazing job. And this is not the end of the road for you all. So we're going to see more of Brooklyn Museum because you all are going to compete on Tuesday, March 16th against whoever comes out of Thursday nights. So again, this is a bracket competition. It's March, it's madness. It feels like madness, but it's going to be fun. So do not miss Thursday night on the 4th, just two nights from now. I'm going to see you all on here again. We're going to see what happens between Milwaukee and Columbus. If you check the chat, we have dropped the link in there. If you look in the comments below, we're going to put the Eventbrite link in there. I want to say a huge congratulations to Brooklyn Museum. Big congratulations. A very big congratulations to Newark Museum of Art. This has been an amazing competition. The comments, I hope you're reading the comments here. We've been so excited to have all of you on tonight. Over 100 of you on this Zoom, and so many more of you on Facebook and Twitter and YouTube, and we're excited to be with you for this competition. So this is just an ellipses. The fun is not over. I'm going to see you on Thursday night. So this is a bye for now. And I cannot wait to see you Thursday to see who moves on between Columbus and Milwaukee. So thank you, Brooklyn.
Thank you. Great
Thank
game.
you.
Thanks for having
Great
us.
time.
Brooklyn.
Good game.
Congrats.
Good game.
Good game.
And thank you so much, Newark. Great game. And everyone start preparing for your next rounds. Take care, everybody, and have a
Thanks,
great
Megan.
night.